Chapter 20 by Mrs. Ruiz. The Setup. When they strolled into the grove, the first squirrel to notice him was Jip. He nodded, uninterested. Then he did a double take. Wait, what? He stared at Jed. He reached out a paw and touched him as he passed, quickly, then pulled his paw back close to his own chest. Jed, he said. Jed turned and smiled. He pretended to be surprised. Jip, he said warmly. Hello, old fellow. The hawk, said Jip. You were snatched. I saw it. The fact is, he had made quite a to-do over it. He told everyone he would listen how he had shouted, Hawk! But the know-it-all Jed did not listen. He left out the part about how he shouted it after, not before. I tried, he had said, throwing up his paws. What more could I do? He thinks he's so smart. Doesn't matter how smart you are. A hawk is a hawk. Hawk schmock, said Jed breezily. I escaped his clutches. Ha shuddy. He did a few swift kicks and chops. Hi-ya, he said. Practice pays off. Too bad you quit after 2 lessons. Jed's martial arts demonstration caught the attention of other squirrels. When they saw who it was and who was with him, they rushed over. A hubbub ensued. With shouts and hugs and a murmuring running through it, escape a hawk? Jed shrugged modestly, like a hero maybe. The families of the 3 returning squirrels came pushing their way through the others to embrace their Chai, and their Jed, and their Susu, and who was this? I'm Zek, said Zek. She's our friend, said Susu, a really good friend. I'm sure she is, said Jutta, tears streaming down her cheeks. Come here, dear, and she embraced Zek too. Everyone was embracing. But where have you been? Asked Chebby. We thought we lost 3 at once, and now here you all are, plus 1 more. You must have quite a story. Let's hear it. He settled right in front of them to listen, and Jutta settled beside him. Like Follow the Leader, another excellent game, the other squirrels settled in around and behind them. Upturned faces waited for the story. Jed couldn't be sure without counting, but he thought nearly everyone was there by now. I slipped through the hawk's talons, he said matter-of-factly, and landed in a pile of leaves in a foreign realm. I thought I might be there forever, but Susu had climbed to the highest limb in our grove. She saw where I fell. She and Chai came to find me. I am lucky to have such friends. We encountered many dangers, but here we are. We are so glad to be home. It was a very brief telling. There was no time to lose. Oh, he said, as if he had just thought of it. Also, we learned a new game. Let's play around, said Susu. Yes, let's, said Zek. Loser has to do the cleanup, said Chai. Game? Said Charette, who was sitting next to Jetta. I thought we were doing stories. It wasn't a very good story, said Zek from the back of the row. Too short. Needs more details. Like what kind of dangers and how did you escape? I'd tell it better later, said Jed, after we play a round. Round? said a large muscular fellow called Burke. Round of what? Move, said Jack. You move, said Burke. No, 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 said Jed. Move is the name of the game we learned. You guys are going to love it, said Sutsu. It has teams. Of course it has teams, said their friend Dottie. It's a game. Not all games have teams, said Zek. In some games we compete as individuals, and in some games we compete only against ourselves. Well, this one has teams, said Dottie. How are we picking the teams? Asked Jip. Counting off, rhymes, or tails in? Tails in, said Chai. Tails in, everyone. Susu, who had other things on her mind beside winning, took the youngest pups for her team. They're small, though, she said, so count 2 as 1. That means I get all of them. Zeke managed to get herself on a team with Chebby and Jetta because she liked old squirrels and they seemed kind. Burke was also on their team. He stood a little away from them, concentrating on the rules that Susu and Chai were laying out. I'm too old for such nonsense, said Jetta. This doesn't sound like a game, said Chubby. It sounds like we're immigrating. Shh, said Teak, alarmed. She held a finger to her lips and glanced meaningly towards Burke and other squirrels. Jeb and Jetta looked at her, surprised. I'm sorry, she said. I didn't mean to be rude. It's just that you're right. But there's a really, really good reason. I'll tell you about it while we play. Can you help us make it a game, please? Chai and Susu had finished their instructions, and the teams were forming huddles to assign positions and go over strategy. Burke turned around to survey his team. What a bunch of duds. He was probably going to have to do everything himself. So everybody ready, he asked. Wahoo, cheered Jetta. Go team, yelled Chubby. Let's haul nuts, shouted Teak. Well, at least you're a spunky group, said Burke.